All right, we are switching gears right now because we just got some breaking news about 1,000 layoffs. The layoff notices have been sent to Algoma Steel. Here to explain to us what exactly happened, how this is tariff related, if this is tariff related, is Julian Karaguesian. He's a former advisor to the finance ministry who actually worked on the Canada-U.S. economic relationship. He's now professor of economics at McGill. Professor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Joanne.
Professor, we were going to talk about some interesting new numbers that actually pointed in the favorable direction for Canadians, right? But then we just got hit with this news about these job layoffs. What do we know? Can you tell us a little bit about Algoma Steel? Am I pronouncing that right? I don't even know.
Algoma Steel.
Yeah, and what happened and how is this related to the tariffs?
Well, they were planning some job layoffs as they switched systems from don't ask me about the details of the engineering, from a blast furnace to an electric arc furnace. And those layoffs are coming now a year earlier than expected. But my analysis tells me that a lot of this is the 50% tariff that the Trump administration has imposed on Canadian steel. It's not clear what share of the jobs, but I would say that it's a lot of them. It's got to be over 50%, maybe more. And so 900 job notices were given out today for, basically letting off 900 people. And I think they have 12 to 16 weeks. So it'll take them through, if it's 16 weeks, until March. But again, this is the 50% tariff has hit our steel sector extremely hard. And this is on top of the automotive sector layoffs.
So, Professor, what happens now, right? I mean, there's so many questions about who's going to back down. Should we back down? What is the strategy moving forward? What happens now, with steel in particular?
Well, we have in motion with this new Carney government, we have 32 major projects that have been, some of them are new, some of them were already in play, and they've been put together and coalesced in this national projects office or major projects office based in Calgary. And the reason that that's significant is because any projects that's been referred to this office or identified as a national nation-building project may get or will get federal funding to accelerate the building out of Canadian infrastructure. And why that's relevant to Algoma Steel and to our steel workers and steel sector is that once these nation-building projects get underway, that will create an internal demand for steel that will help offset or maybe even fully offset the effect of the tariffs of the Trump administration. But that's going to take time. And another question that I have out there for Algoma Steel and others is Algoma received $500 million in loans from the federal government. Yeah, and the main reason was to protect the jobs of these workers. So I'd like to know how, what the interplay of that is with the company's decision. Because again, if $500 million in loans was to protect workers, let's hope it's going to protect workers.
Well, I mean, clearly it's not here. We're talking, I said 1,000, but you were correcting me and said it's 900. So what happens to that loan now? What do we know about that?
Well, that I don't have inside information. I'll give the company the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they're going to come back and say that these layoffs were planned. But this seems like a result, at least in large part, of the impact of the tariffs that the United States has imposed. So that's an open question about what happens to these loans. And that's a key question for the government, for the union, and for the company, and for taxpayers at large.
So, Professor Karaguesian, you did talk about these sort of nation-building projects, right? These are sort of job creation. We're creating jobs. We're making it so that these job losses will not occur as often, that we're able to sort of support ourselves. But you said that that's down the line, right? That takes time. Do we have an idea on time? Because if I'm a worker and I see this news story coming out and I work in steel, is this the sign of things to come? Will the Carney government have enough time to catch up to all of this?
It will. When these projects become shovel ready, so to speak, and hit a critical mass, we could see not only the reversal of these job losses, but over time an increase in jobs in the steel sector. But it's going to take time. One of the projects that's been identified is a high-speed rail between Quebec and Toronto in the first instance, and then maybe Windsor, and then maybe beyond. And that will create an enormous demand for steel and for other resources that Canada has in abundance. And then there's critical minerals projects, there's modular nuclear reactors, there's the expansion of the LNG gas storage facility in Kitimat, BC. All of this is going to need steel. The question is it 6 months before we feel the demand? Is it a year? And then there's the bigger question of Ontario and Quebec's manufacturing workers in the automotive industry. It's mostly Ontario, but partially in Quebec too, as the United States car companies continue to pull out. What will be their fate, and what's the plan to support our economy, the manufacturing part of it in particular? Yeah,
we're running out of time, but the question for me also is that because this is skilled labor, right? Let's say this does take 6 months to a year. These workers are all of a sudden, without a job, without a place to work. The whole steel sector is under an enormous amount of pressure. Are we then just losing the skilled labor that sort of disappears into another job market? So then we may have all these projects, but we may be running out of workers. Is that a possibility? I mean, who's preparing for this?
Well, that's not clear. Now, we did see a budget released by the Carney government that did represent, I would say, a significant turn in the economic ship of our country. But again, a lot of these are going to take place over the medium term. But what the government can do right now, in place of providing loans to companies, they could have some kind of employment stabilization program that's directly for the workers, so that we preserve it's highly skilled work in our manufacturing and our steel and our aluminum, and we don't want these families that are supported by these jobs to be displaced and to move. So that's going to be a national priority, and it may require a more planned, longer-term, coherent industrial policy that provides a direction to Canada's manufacturing industry as a whole. Just like Germany has, like China has, Korea, Japan, even the United States has that. And so I think we're moving in that direction.
Well, somebody better make some moves quickly, because this is happening. Professor Julian Karaguesian, we've run out of time. You're professor of economics at McGill, someone who's worked on the Canada-U.S. economic relations in the past. Thank you so much for this perspective. Again, we're reacting to 900 layoffs at Algoma Steel, the breaking news there. Professor, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Joanne. This is a trade war, and these are casualties, and we need to do something very quickly.
It's happening. Thank you for this perspective. 3:47 right now. Time to check on the roads from the CJAD Traffic Center. Here's Lauren Glazer.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.